Hi, I'm Alan Tower. I have a photo studio in Spokane, Washington, creatively named Alan Tower Photo. Today I'm going to show you how the NIK software that's NIK, from Google can really speed up your workflow and make you more efficient, which means you can give a better value to your customers and you can get more things done in a day. Let's start by opening up this picture of an abandoned truck in camera raw, that I shot with some snow on it. And then let's crop it, because I think this particular image has too much background and too little main event. Generally, one should have the main subject fill the frame more. I would have had to trespass quite a bit to get the truck larger. I used the 200 millimeter as it was, which was the biggest lens I had with me. So now I'm going to crop. But the good news is on the cropping is that I use a Canon 5D SR, so the amount of pixels I have in an image, it starts at over 50 megapixels in an image. This will still end up equivalent to a 5D Mark III with this big a crop, or close to the equivalent. And notice that when I crop, I do not check the delete crop pixels box, so that way I won't just get rid of them. If I ever want a different crop, I can do it. And so here we have this. Now we have a little pop-up menu over here that is going to be included when your Photoshop will have that open when you open a file, as long as you have the NIK software installed. And by looking on this menu, you can pick what you want to do. I'm going to open Color Efex Pro 4. I'll just click on that, and it will load the image. And the last thing I did on it was using a dynamic skin softener, so that just by default came up first. But what I want to use is Pro Contrast, so I'll just go down and click that, and that will open that up. And on the Pro Contrast, if I bring the correct contrast over, you can see how dark that makes the truck. But the neat thing about the dynamic contrast is it can increase contrast, but it samples the image in a different way, so that you don't get some of the strange effects. And each image will be a little bit different. Sometimes correct contrast is better, sometimes dynamic contrast is better, but almost always one or the other is going to work well. So all you have to do is move the sliders, see what you like, and you've got it. Now the next thing is to hit this Add Filter button. If you don't like what you just did with Pro Contrast, and you can check that out, this is before, this is after. If you don't like what you just did, then you can not touch this Add Filter button and just go get a different filter, and it will replace the one you just did. But I want to retain the settings I just did with Pro Contrast, so I just hit this and say I want to add a filter. And what I think will be really effective with, and often is very effective with things that are metallic or kind of interesting things like that, is this detail extractor. So I'm going to click that one, and I'm even going to crank that up a little bit higher, and I'm going to put a little more contrast up on that, and that has given our image quite a bit more oomph, just so fast, and that's really all there is to it. Now I hit Add Filter, and in this case I want to put a vignette, because this is still kind of boring around here, but we're dealing with snow, so I'm going to choose this vignette lens, and I don't care for this black look. I mean, I can make that bigger or littler. I can change its shape to more rectangular. But what I really want is, I'd rather that, since this is a snowy image, I think that would look cooler in white. And the lucky thing is, I can go this way and I get it in white. So there we go. Now I have a little bit more of the effect right here on this corner of the truck than I wish. So I'm going to click on the minus control point here, bring that over, and you can see that immediately when I brought that in, that I got a lessening of the effect, depending on how big I want it to be. I just want to reduce it down just like that, and that's all I need to do. So having done this, I can now just hit the OK button, and it will save all those three filters onto that layer. You can make each filter on a separate layer if you want to be able to go back and take out one or the other or something. But for the most part, when I'm working quickly through, I'll just go ahead and add filters as is provided there, and let that do the work. Now I'm going to zoom in, not quite that much, although this is interesting. Look how little this is pixelated, and I inadvertently just zoomed in to 447%. That's how detailed that 5DSR is. But I'm just going to go in just a little bit here, actually 44%, and then the reason I'm doing that is I want to be able to look at this closely enough to see what I'm doing, and I'm going to just simply use, well, I'll tell you what, I think I will create a stamp visible layer. I'll just hit a new layer, hold down Shift, Control, Alt, and E, hit the letter E, and that will take the entire image and put it onto this layer. And then that way, if I don't like something I do, I can just delete that layer, although I know this is going to work out fine, so it doesn't really matter if I'd use that other layer, but it's a good habit, and if I'm doing a tutorial, I ought to teach you good habits. So that is it. We had just a very simple cleanup using spot healing. I wanted that one errant piece of grass out of the middle of the door. Obviously, I don't want to remove the blemishes on the truck, because that's part of the charm of the old truck, is that it has kind of an interesting look. And so here's our image that we've created in that tiny amount of time. The only thing I might still do to this, and under normal circumstances, of course, is to go to the my brush tool, and I've got a custom brush that is, and let's pick a color that's more black, and I've got a custom brush that has my watermark on it, and I just attach that watermark there and save the image, and that would be it. So that took just very few minutes, but if you tried to do this amount of manipulation with regular Photoshop, you'd be at it for another hour. And that's one of the advantages, I think, of using the NIK software and getting familiar with all the filters and the way they work. So that there are loads and loads of ways this could be developed, the ways this image could be done. If you want to do just one more little tweak, the output sharpener is down here, and if you just click that and allow it to do its default thing, you can change the sharpening strength with the slider and do whatever you want, but its default is generally good. So if you want to just give it just that little extra crispness, give it the output sharpener at the end. And that's it. That's the entire method of doing this, developing this picture. But let's compare where we come from and where we've ended up. What we've got here is, this is where we started. This is the truck in its original form, cropped obviously, but this is the way the picture looked when I started, and this is the way it looks when I'm done. Much more finished image that has much more interest and brings our subject matter into real attention. Thank you very much for your time, and there will be more later.